different parts of the country have different ways of phrasing things, different ways of pronouncing things, different ways of using the language. In Philadelphia, it's not uncommon for somebody to say, I went down the shore, stayed over someone's house, and had a Wooder ice. And that's everybody knows what that is, and other people would say, there's some stuff that's not exactly correct about that. There's some definite Philly words. One of them is Attytood. And that's the way in Philadelphia, the expression, people say Attytood. And there was a practitioner friend of mine by the name of Sam Brown. Wonderful, deep spiritual soul and a complete Philly accent. So he would get up on the pulpit and talk about an attitude of gratitude. And it was very entertaining for me and the other people who were not necessarily tied in with the Philadelphia way of thinking. But that's just the way he talked. He had an attitude of gratitude, and he wanted to talk about having an attitude of gratitude. And that's what we're going to do now. And I love doing this time of year because we're coming up on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, an American holiday, and we get, most of us, the day off from work, except we work for Macy's and the parade, in which case it's a big day. There are some other people who have to go to work on Thanksgiving, but it's a big American holiday. And it's the only American holiday that shares a name with a step in practical prayer. And, or maybe 2 steps in practical prayer. Our friends over at the Agape International Spiritual Center in Los Angeles, by the way, which is where Jamie Lula is playing live today, they start with gratitude and then throw gratitude in partway through. So they get into gratitude twice. And it's important because gratitude is such a key, such a fundamental part of our spiritual practice, such an integral way or aspect of the way that we are creating newness in our lives. So gratitude lets us set up a positive feedback loop where we are actually feeling the good about whatever it is that we're experiencing, and that helps us bring about more good. It activates the law of attraction. It reinforces the law of correspondence. It's been defined as our energetic connection with what resonates and uplifts us. So we can talk about gratitude in lots and lots of different ways. And as you would probably expect when the talk is titled An Attitude of Gratitude, that I'm going to go over some of them. There's a wonderful quote, very basic, from Meister Eckhart, who said that if the only prayer you ever say is thank you, it will be enough. If the only prayer you ever say is thank you, it will be enough. And he was a mystic from centuries and centuries ago. And people keep on reinforcing the same idea. Eckhart Tolle, who is current and modern, says it's through gratitude for the present moment that the spiritual dimension of life opens up. So y'all, gratitude is a way of being spiritual. So we will do well to remember that. And gratitude is easy when everything's going right. Something wonderful happens and you just feel so grateful for it. Something nice opens up and it's just that feeling of thankfulness. It shows up, and it shows up someplace in your body. And what I'd like to do is a really quick exercise on where gratitude shows up in your body. The interesting thing is gratitude is one of those things that we can bring our awareness to. So if you're comfortable and it's safe to do so, not like you're driving a car, go ahead and close your eyes and bring yourself to experience the feeling of gratitude. You can do that by thinking of something that you're grateful for, thinking of a time that you felt grateful, thinking of a person in your life who you're so thankful to be sharing this experience of life with. Could be a beloved pet, could be some event or activity from a time ago. Let yourself feel that feeling. Take a deep, full breath. Be filled with it completely. Feel the feeling of gratitude. Let it multiply. Let it unfold and expand in you. Be grateful, oh so grateful. And deep breath out. Settle into that feeling of gratitude. Continue breathing and feel where you feel the gratitude showing up in your body. Breathe into that. Where's the gratitude showing up in your body? Be present for that. I know where gratitude shows up in our bodies. It's different for lots of people. So I asked artificial intelligence, which doesn't have any of these feelings, where gratitude shows up in our body. And it says we can feel it in our heart, center of our chest. Deep feeling of connection, warm and expansive. It can show up in our breathing. It can show up in our gut. That deep feeling in our solar plexus. Just feeling so thankful. It can show up as tingles and goosebumps in our skin. Sometimes in our entire body. I think ChatGPT missed a few. Sometimes we get choked up about something that's just so wonderful, something we're so thankful for. It shows up in our throat. And sometimes when something brings tears to our eyes, it shows up in our eyes. And it's different for everybody. If somebody feels gratitude showing up in their left knee, that's okay. Because the thing that we all have in common is the ability to be in resonance, in connection with that goodness that's available. Take another deep breath. Enjoy that deliciousness of gratitude. And as you're comfortable, you can return your attention to the world around you. Henry Ward Beecher said, "Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul." So we can be poetic about gratitude. And we can identify gratitude where it shows up in our bodies. And it's, like I mentioned, really easy to be grateful when things are going well. But it's also easy to be grateful when not everything is going well. One of the key elements in our spiritual practice is the ability to understand where we are, the experience that we're having, and then choose something different. It's the pivot. It's the magic and the power of the pivot. It's where we're looking into the shadows and we say, "That's not for me. I'm not preferring that. I would rather be looking towards the light." And that's possible for us all the time. And the important part to remember is that even when we're looking into the shadows, even when we're seeing the stuff that we don't want to be experiencing, even when we're mired in the middle of the muck, there's still some stuff that's going on okay for us. There's still some stuff that's working. I've been talking to some of the people this week and previous weeks in the daily meditations who have been having some challenges. And I understand the challenges that they're having, that we're having, that all of us might be having. But there's also a gift that's being given continuously and being received continuously, and we can open ourselves up to gratitude for it. And I'm going to point out some of them, and then you get to say whether you noticed it or not. Every second, your heart is beating. And has been doing so for quite some time. Sometimes twice a second. It's going on right now. If you want to, you can feel for your pulse and be a reminder. If you're one of those people who feels gratitude in your heart, maybe you're feeling it anyway. That constant thump, thump, thump. And let's be honest, you probably weren't thinking about how grateful you are for your circulatory system, for your pulse. And if it stopped, it would be noteworthy. If it stopped for any period of time, it would definitely be noteworthy. A lot of times we focus on breathing. In our meditations, we always take deep intentional breaths to let ourselves be filled with new possibilities and to let go of what's not serving. And that's also something. If you're feeling like everything is going wrong and you can't find gratitude for anything, that next breath, that next free, clear breath is something to be grateful for. It's possible to be grateful for any of the stuff that's going on in our physical experience. With our kidneys or our liver. I just had an MRI a week ago, and it turns out that mine are doing okay. Thank you. Our digestive system. Try not having your digestive system not work for a little while and see how grateful you are to do things that are just so commonplace from day to day. A regular part of living turns out is a very nice part of living. Nervous system, your musculoskeletal system. There's at least one person who is on the Zoom with us today who is recovering from an injury and going through physical therapy and rehab to come back into that place of alignment and balance and harmony that a lot of us like to take for granted. Yeah, it's time to get up and go get a glass of water. We just get up. We don't think about how difficult or challenging or whatever that's going to be. And those are all gifts. Those are all gifts, and we can express gratitude and thankfulness for those gifts when they show up in our lives. And we can use those as a reminder that things are going well for us. So I've been dealing with the medical industrial complex, as Joe likes to call it. Turns out that I'm very healthy. All the tests have been coming back happy. They say positive or they say negative. The medical industry likes to say that the test comes back negative and that's happy, and I refuse to use that language. It came back happy. They're looking for a disease and they didn't find it, and that's their problem. They're playing hide and seek with the wrong particular ground, but that's okay. So anyway, I've got to go in for this procedure in a couple of weeks. And as I went in and I was talking to the nurse and the technician and the physician's assistant about everything that I needed to be doing, they kept on doing things like taking my pulse and blood oxygen and my blood pressure and all the rest of that, and they looking at my chart and kept saying, well, this is much easier to do with somebody who's healthy. And they're like complimenting themselves on how easy their job is. And it's like, I'm happy to help. I am happy to help you make your job easier. And one of the things they want me to do is use this thing. This is an inspiration measurement device. And the idea is to measure how well I can breathe in. And little did they know that I do daily meditations where it's all about breathing in and then breathing out. So I'm pretty good at that anyway. And then I spent 10 years as a scuba diver being very much aware of my breath and focused on my breath capacity. So the instructions are that they want me to see how deeply I can breathe in. And it's like, you're not going to be able to do it with this device because it goes all the way to the top of the scale and stays there until I'm done. So, and the name of the device, let me just make sure. This is, I want to make sure that I get it right. It's an incentive spirometer. It measures my inspiration. And the incentive is that I should be inspired. Well, that's my kind of device. If you're going to measure my inspiration, I'm going to be as inspired as I can possibly be. And if there's an incentive for that, then let's make that happen as well. And this is for pre-admission testing, dealing with the medical establishment. And there's no need for me to be happy or joyous or anything other than just completely businesslike about this. And I can use that as a reminder of the things that's working, the things that are working. So what are the things that you take for granted? Not just in your body. And the physical body things are really easy. There's a lot of stuff that we get to take for granted. And we can look past all of the good things that are happening for us. And there is a huge tendency for people to get together and talk about the drama, talk about the conflict, the challenge, the exceptions that are going on in our lives. Do you have a comfortable place to sleep? Are you grateful for it? Yeah. Do you have a friend somewhere who cares about you? Yes, you do, by the way, if you're wondering if that's the case. Yes, you do. I can tell you that because you're here. But if you're not aware of it, it's nice to have that reminder that there is somebody in the world who loves and cares about you. Are you confident that you're going to have a filling meal sometime today? Are you feeling grateful for it, or are you just wondering where you're going to get it and which one it's going to be? And maybe be unhappy that they ran out of your favorite thing at the Wawa. It's possible to be grateful and thankful about anything. Do you have a supportive spiritual practice? Something that you can rely on to remind you of your connection with the infinite. These are all things that we can adapt an attitude of gratitude about. And we're welcome to do that. We don't have to. That's the really wonderful thing about this. The infinite is giving us all of these gifts, sometimes the ones that we've been asking for and that we put into our prayer work stories, and sometimes the ones that we take for granted. Gifts given, and we're receiving them. And we can be grateful for them at any time. And that feeling of gratitude that shows up, you felt where it shows up in your body, it changes your body. It changes the way that you feel, and the way that you feel expresses in the way that you engage in the world. So maybe there's some benefit in having more of an attitude of gratitude. Is there freedom in your life in any area? We all have freedom in some way or another. Even people who are completely hemmed in have freedom of some sort. even if it's just the freedom of our thoughts, to turn away from the ones that are not working for us and turn towards the ones that we would prefer instead. The pivot is always available regardless of how constricted we might feel. Zig Ziglar said that gratitude is the healthiest of all human emotions. The more you express gratitude for what you have, the more likely you will have even more to express gratitude for. How about that? How about that? I asked the digital parrot, ChatGPT. And by the way, if you think that artificial intelligence is coming up with something wonderful and spectacular, it's not. It's basically listening to everything that humanity has ever said and giving back the most popular ones. So the chances of it coming up with something brand new are limited. But I asked, what are some gratitude practices that we can have to make ourselves feel more grateful? And I'll repeat them here for you because you might not have asked recently. Gratitude journaling is one. Write down every day 3 to 5 things for which you are grateful. And it can be your pulse. It can be the fact that you made it home. You can do a mindful gratitude meditation. Sit quietly and breathe, just feeling gratitude. And you know, you've already done the experiment for where it shows up in your body. Just focus on that part of your body, breathe gratitude into that, and feel it. You can express gratitude to other people. Look for something to say thank you for. Look for something to express gratitude for. Is it possible that somebody is going to do something nice for you this month, today, right away? If you're on the lookout for it, then you get to express gratitude for that, and that reactivates the whole thing. It gets that cycle going again. You can pause and reflect. Just stop and observe what's going on in your life that you can be grateful for. And there are gratitude rituals. And there are more. And there are more beyond that and more beyond that. What can I be grateful for? What can I be grateful for? If you love turkey and stuffing, you're going to have something to be grateful for this week. Because even if there's not somebody cooking you a turkey, there's going to be lots of folks with turkey specials going on. Adopting an attitude of gratitude. An attitude of gratitude, make sure I say it the Philly way, is tremendously valuable. It is the second to last step in a practical prayer. Once we have firmly established in mind the goodness that we are inviting and acknowledge that that goodness is on its way to us, we step into gratitude, thankfulness for the awareness of the creative process, for the good that's coming our way, to be able to speak a word into a creative law and know it's responding. It doesn't matter what we're grateful for. Wherever that part in your body is where you feel gratitude, that's where you're grateful from. So this week, everybody's going to be talking about Thanksgiving, and it can mean turkey with the trimmings and a Macy's parade, if you want it to. And it can be a reminder of a deep and wonderful spiritual practice and the truth of the good that's available for you now and always. Game on. Be in gratitude. Have that attitude and let the love unfold because you deserve it. And so it is.